welcome back to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. But if this is your very first time at my channel, yay, you found me. I'm so glad you're here. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a specific film. So the specific film I'm reviewing today is called A Good Person. This raw drama is now playing in select theaters. It's rated R and is 2 hours and 9 minutes long. My movie review mom grade is an A-. Very well done, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain. I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are sort of similar, but I think you might also really like if you like this one. Ready? Let's dive in. In a nutshell, first of all, I've been a fan of Zach Braff ever since I first saw him acting in the comedy or the medical comedy show Scrubs. I'm so excited for him because he wrote, produced, and directed this movie. So kudos to a job well done. So what does it mean to be a good person? Well, the story focuses on a young woman who was in a terrible car accident that killed 2 people. We watch her try to recover physically and emotionally as she grapples with how she can become a good person and tries to pull all of the pieces together of the shattered lives around her. So there were a lot of things I really liked about this movie. First of all, this movie had me at Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. They are both absolutely fantastic in this movie. Florence knocks it out of the park, as she does really in every movie that she's in. We even get to hear her sing a little bit in this movie, quite a bit, in fact. I'm such a fan. I recently learned that she and director/writer Zach Braff dated for 3 years. So clearly he knew that she had the talent to pull off this very tough role. Hopefully she'll be given an Oscar nomination at the very least for what she accomplished in this film. I was worried that this was going to be yet another one of those Morgan Freeman movies where he's hardly in any scenes for a quick payday, but he gets his name, on the poster and draws attraction that way. So I was happily surprised by his large role in this film. Yay! He is such a national treasure, and I recognize he's getting old and slowing down. And a lot of actors are very tempted by that easy paycheck. So I was really happy to see him actually act quite a bit in this movie. The rest of the cast absolutely crushes it too, and includes Zoe Lister-Jones, Molly Shannon, who normally plays comedy, but I thought she was great, Celeste O'Connor, Chinasa Uche, Nichelle Hines, and Toby Onwumere. Wumeri? Sorry, Toby, I'm sure I didn't pronounce your name correctly. The camera lingers on moments for just the right amount of time, I thought. Shout out to Find My Phone app. Now, you will cry, so be prepared with lots of tissues. Now, there were some things I didn't like. First of all, the movie is really too long to say what it needs to say what it wants to say. I was exhausted by the end. I can only take so much heartache. And the content is very rough. And I don't enjoy watching people live their lives in the gutter. And so that's probably really why I didn't give it an A, was I had just had enough. So let me give you some tips for parents. Kids are going to be bored since it's one of those adult talking movies, and the topics and themes are really very deep and rough for kids. Adults buy, sell, and take drugs. An older man tries to sleep with an underage girl twice. Lots of alcohol, profanity, and so many F-bombs. And you have to read some texts on the screen. So some of the themes that are illustrated very well in the movie are grief, addiction, what we choose to cover our pain, and we all do it just in different ways, sometimes legally, sometimes not legally. Choices and consequences, mental health, second chances, the opioid epidemic in America, pharmaceutical industry, and how powerful that is, parenting, life's twists and turns, taking responsibility for your life and your mistakes, loss of what might have been, forgiveness, and self-love. So as you can see, there are a lot of themes covered in this movie and done very well, I might add. So I always like to share funny lines and interesting lines so that you can kind of get a taste for the dialogue and the flavor of the movie. And so I have them all written down on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share some of them with you right now. So here's a funny line. First of all, Allison is the character played by Florence Pugh, and she is really struggling throughout the majority of the movie and making very bad choices and becoming addicted to alcohol and drugs. And so she goes to this bar, and I won't give you all of the conversations, but finally she talks with this bartender and he offers her a coffee mixed with tequila. And she says, "That's disgusting. Thank you." I thought that was kind of funny and sad at the same time. Some of the interesting lines are when Florence Pugh's character says, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to be anywhere." And so there is some talk of suicide, certainly depression, and just, I don't want to live anymore because everything was happening so badly in her life. Now, another sweet line, though, is when Morgan Freeman says to her, "I'm hugging you with my eyes," because she doesn't want to be touched or really even seen at that point. And then I'm skipping some of the lines, but I'll share one more line. This one is by Morgan Freeman, and he says, "Amor fate is to love one's fate." And I thought that that was a really interesting idea and an overarching theme of the movie, that you need to take responsibility for your choices, but the choices are yours. And yet sometimes fate also has a funny way with playing with our choices. Anyway, so let me give you some recommendations for some other films that I thought were equally well done. The first one, and they're all heartbreaking, by the way. The first one is called To Leslie. Excellent performances all the way around, but particularly from the protagonist, who is just living in the gutter, dealing with addiction. And another one is called All the World is Sleeping. And that one is very, very recent, as of, I think, just a month ago. So check those out, both of them. If you're interested in that type of movie, they're very powerful films, and yet they're not everyone's cup of tea because they're painful to watch, and yet powerful and still hopeful, despite all of the horrible things that happen. All right, I hope if you see this movie that you do enjoy it. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Be sure and click on that subscribe and like button, and even just commenting down below helps my YouTube channel to grow. So thanks for that. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.